I'm going to be recommending The Inheritance Cycle by Christopher Paolini in 3 minutes. Now, with Murtagh just releasing, we need to talk about The Inheritance Cycle. This was one of those fantasy series in the early 2000s that introduced many young readers to the vast realms of fantasy fiction. For me, it wasn't the series that sparked my love for fantasy. That would belong to Deltora Quest by Emily Rada, but it was one of those early reads that contributed to my love for the genre. Around 4th grade, I read the first 2 and really enjoyed them, but for some reason I never continued. That is, until now. In preparation for Murtagh, I've read the cycle, and wow, you know what? I enjoyed it. It holds up pretty well, especially if you consider the intended audience. The amount of people I have seen comparing it to The Wheel of Time, or insert other adult fantasy series, let me stop you right there. This is young adult fantasy. It is made for children and teens. Is it the most original fantasy out there? No, and it's not trying to be. This is a classic textbook Tolkien-esque fantasy for children, and it's a great beginner fantasy. Yet it has enough depth to it that many adults can still find enjoyment. The 2002 smash hit novel Eragon follows a teen farm boy as he comes into his own as a dragon rider after finding a mysterious stone that hatches a dragon. Struck with grief at the death of his uncle and seeking revenge, he joins the storyteller Braum, and together with Saphira, they embark on a grand and beautiful trek through the magical world of Alagasia, a journey that would go on to span 4 books, some companion novels, and now the recent Murtagh, with apparently more books planned in the future. Now, even if you're reading Eragon for the first time, it's going to feel like a familiar story in the coziest of ways. It has many of those familiar fantasy tropes that some might find tiring while others find comfort in, while also having enough originality to make it memorable. I especially enjoyed Paolini's descriptions of the landscapes of Alagasia. They bring a lot of grandeur to captivate your imagination, and there's a lot of depth to this world that's lacking in many other young adult fantasy stories that I've read. I truly enjoyed getting lost in the world of Alagasia. I love the dragons and the bond they have with their riders. The ancient language that he developed is so fascinating, with these root words that are easily identifiable. There's quite a few different cultures and ways of living and folklore here to dive into, and then the characters like Rorin, Arya, and Murtagh are ones that I'm still thinking about long after turning the final page. Now, overall, while the writing does have its flaws and some rough patches, it's important to note that Paolini was 15 when he started writing this, which, wow, that is incredible. The thing is, this book isn't meant to be judged from the point of view of an adult. It's targeted at teens, and it does that job great. That being said, I still really enjoyed this, and to me it includes a lot of what I love about fantasy. It can be a little predictable at times, but it still has some surprising twists here and there. Now, to those that say the Inheritance Cycle's plot is a ripoff of Star Wars, yeah, they both follow that classic hero's journey monomyth, and they use some of the same familiar tropes, but the comparison doesn't really hold up when you actually try to compare each character and the plots without making big leaps. Yes, it may be inspired by Star Wars and Lord of the Rings and Dune and many others, but that isn't a bad thing. From its classic hero's journey to its richly crafted world, deep moral themes, and an author who grew with his characters and the story, it's worth reading whether you're a seasoned fantasy lover or new to the genre. Oh, but don't bother watching the movie. And time! Let me know if you plan on reading The Inheritance Cycle or if you grew up reading it. I am so surprised at how well it holds up and how much I still enjoy these books. Anyways, I am super excited for Murtagh. Let me know if you plan on reading that, because I am definitely going to be reviewing it here on the channel. Anyways, let me know in the comments what 3-minute recommendation you want to see next, and I'll see you next time.